Well, as we mentioned, U.S. military bases across East Asia are preparing for all options in the event of a confrontation with North Korea. As tensions grow between Washington and Pyongyang, military personnel stationed in the Pacific have to be ready to act anytime.
Here to talk about the North Korean threat and the U.S. military presence in the Pacific is Colonel David Shoemaker, commander of the 8th Fighter Wing at Kunsan Air Force Base in South Korea. He is featured in tonight's CBSN On Assignment report. Colonel, good to see you again. We spoke a few weeks ago on the upcoming CBSN On Assignment report. Has there been a noticeable change in the tone at the air base, in the threat level because of the growing tension with North Korea?
So, Vlad, like we talked about when you were here before, the feeling on the base really isn't that much different as far as what we do. It's the same thing that we have been doing for years here at Kunsan. So we're always ready to defend the base, accept follow-on forces, and take the fight north. If anything, the difference is the focus gets that much sharper and that much clearer when we see the reports from back home and when we hear from our families back home what's being broadcast. That focus gets that much sharper. But we're always ready, and that hasn't changed.
Now, Colonel, I imagine one of the huge challenges with North Korea is that it is such a secretive nation. It is difficult to get clear intel in terms of what's going on there. So what do you make of South Korea's defense minister's claim about North Korea's nuclear capabilities? Specifically, he said that North Korea may not completely have gained re-entry technology. What do you think?
Well, again, from our perspective, whether or not that intelligence holds true, we do the same thing here at this base. So our job here is readiness to take that fight north. And we don't make the policy, but we're here to carry out that policy with a vengeance if required.
But that must be...
my hope is... Go ahead.
That must be one of the challenges, is there's only so much accurate information you can get out of North Korea.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. And really, for us, we would hope that the show of strength, the show of our alliance with our ironclad alliance with the Republic of Korea would be a deterrent. But if that should fail, then we are ready to go here at Kunsan.
Colonel, we spoke about this throughout my stay at Kunsan Air Force Base, but I would like you to explain to our viewers what the mission of the 8th Fighter Wing is and how those airmen under your command carry it out every single day.
Absolutely, Vlad. So our mission here is simple. We put it into three parts, and that is we defend the base, accept follow-on forces, and take the fight north. And bottom line is we have a core of people here at Kunsan, 3,100 airmen right now at Kunsan Air Base, that are ready anytime to take that fight north. But if need be, we're ready here to accept those follow-on forces and have a base here that would be 3 to 4 times the size that it is right now, and ready to carry out that mission with a vengeance. Everyone here at this base understands that. It's a thing of beauty to see that focus when every airman, regardless of their day-to-day job, understands where they fit into that big machine that is the Wolfpack in Kunsan Air Base.
Speaking of the Wolfpack, we just showed some video there of my flight in the F-16 with Captain Clisette and yourself. I don't know if this is, you can tell me if this is true or not, but we conducted an interview wingtip to wingtip in the F-16 while we were a couple of thousand feet up in the air, and we talked about the unique capabilities of the F-16. I wonder if you could also share with our viewers what some of those capabilities are, and have you increased your flight patrols, combat air patrols, in the wake of the recent rhetoric from North Korea?
Yeah, Vlad, so you got firsthand experience, and by the way, for everybody watching, he did very well, and actually was able to carry out that interview at the end of a flight in the F-16.
So, Colonel, he did not throw up or get woozy. He's shaking his head.
He did not throw up. He was able to carry on a great conversation even at the end of that flight. But as you saw, the capabilities of the aircraft, the ability of this aircraft to fight air to air as required with enemy fighters, and then to be able to fight in and strike targets with precision, and then fight our way out if required. And being able to do that multi-role in a single-seat fighter is absolutely a phenomenal piece of equipment. And as far as the way that we train, again, we go out and we train to each one of those skill sets. And we'll do part task training here and there, and then we'll go out and put it all together in a sortie like what you saw, Vlad. from the back seat of our D model. And that type of training is very intense, and we keep to that on a training schedule that keeps us in the air, as you've seen, several times a week, sometimes several times a day.
Colonel David Shoemaker at Kunsan Air Force Base in South Korea. Sir, as always, we thank you for your time.
Thank you very much.
And you can watch more of Colonel Shoemaker's work on Vlad's CBSN On Assignment report about U.S. military bases in the Pacific. That is tonight at 10 p.m. Eastern, Vlad.
It's we spent a lot of time traveling to Kunsan, and we also went to Hickam Air Force Base in Hawaii and in Guam. We spent a lot of time there with B-1 bombers because they have been used time and time again to project force in the region on the Korean Peninsula. We actually got to go up in a KC-135 and watch one of those B-1s being refueled. They can fly anywhere in the world as long as they've got one of these KC-135s to keep them fueled and gassed up and ready to go.
I think if you are nervous about some of the stuff that you have been hearing and listening to, when you listen to these guys who are focused on the mission, I think you will have a sense of a calmness.
You heard, right?
You're in good hands.
Yeah, you heard Colonel Shoemaker say that really nothing has changed for the way the airmen are conducting themselves. Whilst we were there, we never saw, even the rhetoric was flying back and forth then as well. Remember, this has been going on for some 60 years for not just the U.S. military, but for people living in South Korea and in Japan. This is nothing new for them. We found that the soldiers, the airmen, the sailors that we talked to are prepared to fight today, tonight, if they need to, but that South Koreans are still pretty chill about it. They don't think about Kim Jong-un perhaps the way that Americans do, and we talk a little bit about that in the piece. So, yeah, it should be interesting. You get a little bit more background as to what exactly is happening out there.
Very cool.